How is it going, everyone? For myself and many others, Resident Evil Requiem is one of our most anticipated games of the entire year. I think for a lot of people it is their most anticipated game of 2026, and we will be getting massive updates regarding the game tomorrow, and I really believe this will kick off the final promotional push for the game ahead of its release on February the 27th. So we'll talk all about that. Also, a bit of an update on Ark Raiders, as that game is just crushing sales milestones, and it's doing something pretty incredible when you want to talk about multiplayer titles and live service games. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Resident Evil Showcase is set for January 15th at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, and it will be a 12-minute broadcast featuring new gameplay and news for Resident Evil Requiem. I have loved how Capcom has handled the promotion of this game, even going back to when this game was announced at Summer Game Fest last year, and how there was a bit of a bait and switch with the game when they were talking about, oh, we'll have more on Resident Evil in the future, and the future was literally at the same show, just at the end of the show, and how they've kept, it was kind of a poorly kept secret, but who cares if it was or wasn't a poorly kept secret? The idea that Leon was in the game, they waited a while before officially confirming it, so the things that they're confirming about the game aren't these huge, absolutely consequential narrative elements of the game, in the sense that it's totally uncovering the story or specific gameplay sequences of the game. They've been very selective in how they've rolled out the information about the game, because yeah, they could have revealed the game back at Summer Game Fest, shown off Leon right away, and people would have been like, alright, cool, Leon's in the game, most of us expected that. But because they kept Leon a little bit close to the vest, that acted as its own big reveal as well, and now you're gonna have this showcase that's gonna be 12 minutes, and hopefully, I really do want this to be the major showcase. And then as far as big gameplay trailers and things of that nature, that's a little bit on the quiet side, because Resident Evil is one of those franchises that I feel like it's best to keep some of it close to the vest as far as what we're gonna get out of the game. Sure, talk about some of the components and whatnot, and some of the things you're doing for the mechanics of the game and whatnot, but in terms of actual sequential gameplay, try to keep that a little bit on the quiet side so everybody can go into the game when it does drop on February 27th, and do the gameplay in a way, in the showcase in a way where it can lead to speculation, but keep that talk going, and I think Capcom has done a masterful job at that. I do expect the game to be a resounding success. I mean, Resident Evil has done a phenomenal job of rebuilding its identity over the course of the last almost a decade at this point, given that Biohazard Resident Evil 7 came out all the way back in 2017, and Requiem is essentially Resident Evil 9, but given the success of the RE2 remake, the 3 remake, I get that people were a little bit more mid on that, but the 4 remake was great, Village was great, and now, hopefully, they've got a big title in the works with Requiem as well, and big in the sense that it's going to have a lot of critical acclaim, and people are going to enjoy it quite a lot. I get it, it's a $70 game. Resident Evil games have never been the lengthiest games in the world, but at the same time, you're going to get a game that's going to be incredibly replayable, and I think Resident Evil has always gotten that idea of all killer, no filler really right. And by the way, if you are looking to pick up the game on PC, our friends at Green Man Gaming do have the game discounted. The base game is 18% off for $57.39. The deluxe edition is 18% off for $65.59, and you get a Steam key on it. I'll leave the link to that in the description box below, so I'm very excited on that. Moving on from that, Ark Raiders sales have topped 12.4 million units. This is an absolutely insane number, and Ark Raiders is doing some of the most incredible stuff we've seen a multiplayer game do in a very long time. Executive producer Alexander Grondel noted in a press release, reaching 12 million downloads is a milestone we owe entirely to the players. The community of Raiders has helped shape this game from the very beginning, and their passion, feedback, and ingenuity continue to guide how we build, support, and grow this world for the long term. To celebrate this milestone, Embark Studios is offering the Gilded Pickaxe Raider tool as a free in-game reward for a limited time. The game did also see its first discount. It was 20% off during the PlayStation Store sale, the Steam Winter Sale. It's back up to $39.99, but I think that $39.99 price point has been one of the key factors to the game being so well received, and it found that happy medium of having a price point, but also being a live service game. Helldivers 2 very much did that as well, and a lot of the Sony live service games, I believe, will do that in the future. Concord, did that as well, but obviously didn't turn out as well. But what's more impressive than anything about Ark Raiders is that this game came out back in October. Let's actually get the exact date. October 30th. So at the end of October, We've had the game be released for about 2.5 months, and at this point, the game has retained its concurrent player base for the most part. Obviously, peaks and valleys, just like all other games, but it's concurrently at 260,000 players on Steam alone right now. Its all-time peak that we know was 960,000 concurrent players, but they hit that peak in January, and that was across all platforms. And again, they just hit that this month, so I would imagine it's because the sales that have been running and the word of mouth about this game has been so strong. It's the same thing that happened with Helldivers 2, at least initially with Helldivers 2. I would say that this is even more impressive than Helldivers 2, but it's a very rare instance where the game doesn't peak week 1 or even week 2. It just continues to grow and grow and grow because this isn't a game that had the biggest marketing push in the world. It wasn't a Battlefield 6 in the sense that it was an IP that everybody knew about and the game was already a known commodity. No, the game is becoming more and more known as streamers continue to play it, as the discussion is still very much there, and I feel like it's one of those games that even people that aren't super into multiplayer games have now heard enough about this game where they're like, okay, I need to check this game out as well, or they have interest in it. And I want to get more into Ark Raiders as well, and you guys know how I feel about multiplayer games, but just assessing it from a player retention standpoint, it is so incredible. The issue with this is this game has done so well that it is going to set an unreachable barometer for so many games. Look, Ark Raiders is an outstanding success. It's a colossal success. However, I don't think this should be the barometer that every game is held to, in the sense that every game is expected to replicate Ark Raiders' level of success. Yes, this game is a gigantic success, but at the same time, this is very much an outlier. What I've always said about live service games is that the biggest quantity that they ask from their player base is their time. And yeah, people will go back and play Ark Raiders over and over again, but only so many games like Ark Raiders can be successful concurrently at the same time, because there's only so many hours that people can invest into games. So Ark Raiders is big right now. It'll be really interesting once the other extraction shooters come out. When Marathon comes out, are they actually going to put a dent in Ark Raiders? Is it going to be a rising tides lifts all boats situation? And I actually think for Marathon, Ark Raiders being so successful is actually beneficial, because Marathon was a game so many people just weren't looking forward to. Now that it does have this rebrand, and now that there is this game, I get Tarkov has been around for a while, but Ark Raiders also being around and on the console space, I feel like that's going to make people be more aware of extraction shooters as a genre, and it's gonna be like, okay, Marathon is a contender to Ark Raiders now. At least that audience will be aware of that game and be willing to at least know about that game. I'm not gonna say buy the game, but at least be aware about that game, and I think in this specific instance, it is going to be rising tides lifts all boats, but we'll see how all of that turns out. Ark Raiders has just been an immense success. Resident Evil Showcase set for January the 15th. That'll be happening 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and Ark Raiders sales have cracked 12 million. Just a ridiculous success and one of the breakout titles of a year in 2025 with so many breakout games, but Ark Raiders definitely the one that I think stands out the most in terms of just how popular the game has gotten. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.